Let's begin with what Aristotle calls the most important of the three appeals, ethos, or argument by character. Aristotle believed that since argument was concerned with making a judgment, it was necessary for the speaker to present himself as worthy of that judgment from the audience. So what makes a speaker credible? What makes somebody an ethical speaker? The starting point for ethical speaking and for ethos for the Greeks was the concept of decorum. Decorum tells an audience, do as I say and as I do. The speaker should sound like the collective voice of his audience, a walking, talking consensus. To show proper decorum, act the way your audience expects you to act, not necessarily like your audience. Those are again the words of J. Heinrichs discussing the concept of decorum. Essentially, decorum had to do with fitting in with your audience's expectations of what a credible speaker is. This is why it's really important to do an in-depth analysis of audience before beginning to construct your argument. Ethos also takes virtue and reputation. Virtue stems from adapting your values to your audience's values. Your audience will listen to you if they believe that you have good judgment and essential goodness. And that goodness is created by mirroring the audience's values with your own. This is also why it's important to just be a good person. Now, how do you actually show the audience that your values align with their own? How do you actually prove that? Well, one way is by bragging about your good character. But even better, let character references brag for you. Let the testimony of others illustrate your own validity and credibility. Think about when you're going to apply for a job, just how important those references are. Those references serve as proof of your virtue and reputation. Consider what you can do if you don't have character references or if you're in front of a group of strangers. How are you going to show that you are essentially good and that you mirror the audience's own values? Ethos also takes authority and wisdom. This is less about degrees and knowing a lot of information and more about practical wisdom. Your audience is more likely to believe you're credible if they can believe that you will really be able to solve the problem at hand. Consider practical solutions to big problems. Think about the way that Randy Pausch isolates a problem, people not living their lives to the fullest, and then provides practical wisdom that serves as solutions. So, how do you actually illustrate your practical wisdom and your authority? You show that you have experience with your subject. This is where storytelling and personal stories are extremely important. Sometimes practical wisdom means that you're willing to bend the already existing rules for the greater good. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. His protests and passive resistance actually bent the already existing rules of the land. He still believed that his position was so strong. He believed that the civil rights movement was such a just cause that he was willing to break the law in order to achieve equality for all. Finally, ethos takes trust. Selflessness shows your audience that their best interest is your sole concern. Illustrate that you don't have a hidden agenda. Your audience is more likely to trust you. So how do you show that you're selfless? Exhibiting trustworthiness by presenting your evidence in a clear way, by not skewing evidence, or by not excluding evidence that doesn't fit your perspective, and then also by showing empathy. Empathy means more than just sympathizing for someone or feeling bad for them. It means putting yourself in their shoes, putting yourself in their position. Empathize with your audience, understand the perspective from their point of view, and you're more likely to earn their trust. Remember your responsibilities as a speaker. You are accountable for fairness and truth in the presentation of your information. You need to make sure and consider both sides of a topic and present information in a valid, truthful way. You have a responsibility to your ideals and principles, or the ideals and principles of your speech. And you have a responsibility and are accountable for the ideas or actions generated by your speech. Next, we'll cover pathos, or the emotional appeal.